Hi guys, so this honestly I was just reading in the comments and Ashley, you really sparked something and made me just want to reach out. I know Shannon uses me and I love that, it's totally fine, as like her never give up girl, and she shares this with all of her new coaches. I am stubborn by background, so that's probably why I'm still here, because I also hate to fail at things and I hate for someone else to say, I told you so. And so when I first started in this whole Beachbody thing, I mean, my family was like, it's totally some gimmick thing, but okay, nice little hobby that you can do. My boyfriend, he's like, I support you in whatever, but he honestly didn't believe in this as anything. And it's still taking time, but he believes in it a lot more. My business was like a shit show my first year. And it is what it is. And it's not that I wasn't following the 3 vital behaviors. It's not that I wasn't in every single training. I was on webinars and conference calls and trainings for other teams and anything. I was on Janelle's, I was on Crystal's when Shannon used to do them more. I found other teams, like every night of the week I was on them. I would follow like social media guru people and I was on their freaking trainings. I was on trainings and trainings and trainings. But here's the other thing. It's not just about getting the more and more trainings. It's about also applying it. And so what I had to learn is it's just consistency. It's consistency. And so, yes, I maybe didn't have a huge following on social media. I mean, I had a decent number of friends and acquaintances and whatnot. But I just had to make a decision that I am going to do every single thing that I'm supposed to do every single day, and I'm gonna mess up on some things and I'm gonna get better on some things, but I'm just going to do it every single day. And I know that I was helping people and I know that I was inspiring people and I was helping people all the time for free on the side, that wouldn't join an actual group. I was still giving them nutrition advice and fitness advice and listening to them vent and all the things that we do as coaches. Anyway, they just weren't ready to invest in themselves and into me as their coach, money-wise. But when they finally were ready, they knew who to come to. And so for a full year, I literally just plugged away at adding new friends, building relationships, putting myself out there on social media every single day. I started to step outside of my comfort zone. I did get into making fitness videos. You don't have to do that. That's just something that I enjoy to do. But then I just really plugged in the most into personal development. And honestly, this is where I think it's key for a lot of coaches. And I used to listen that first year. Every freaking national wake-up call tells you personal development, personal development, personal development. Every single top coach would say it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing personal development. But if I only have X amount of time, then I should be using that to connect with people or to this or to that. And I also learned that if you give me a Nicholas Sparks book or a James Patterson, I will read the crap out of that in 4 hours. You give me a personal development book, and even though I'm excited about it and the material is great, I become dyslexic and I read the same sentence over and over and over. And it can take me 15 minutes and I'm still on the first 2 pages. And then I'm like, I'm over this. Or I fall asleep. So, except for certain books, like You Are a Badass, probably one of my best favorite books, top notch ever. Another really good one is How to Win Friends and Influence People. But like The Slight Edge, I've gotten through half of it twice. I know people love this book. It's not me. Not me. I did get through The Compound Effect, probably because it's super small. That was the very first one ever. But I have started on audio. I've just realized like I can soak in so much more. I'm a visual learner. I'm a kinesthetic hands-on learner. I'm a teacher as well. So I know that I need to see things, and that's why I do better with like things where I can watch somebody do it and then I can do it. I learn that way. However, when it comes to personal development, I do so much better audio. So I started listening. I didn't even know about podcasts at that time. This was like 2 years ago, and I got on YouTube and I just started listening to things on YouTube. Brendan Bouchard has a ton of free stuff on YouTube. I went to my first Coach Summit, and our guest speaker was John Maxwell. Fell in love with the man, okay? All about leadership. And I'm like, crap, I've been trying to build this team. I've been trying to get somebody to want to join me on this whole venture. Forget about just getting customers. Like, I wanted to build my team. So I was like, okay, I have leadership qualities, but I need to figure out how to be a better leader, how to come across as a better leader, etc. So I focused and focused and focused on leadership. How do I become better? How do I learn how to serve other people better, even if they're not fully ready to jump on board into a challenge group or jump on board to the coaching thing? I just knew, okay, this is an area I probably need to work on. So I really started to invest in in personal development. And let me just tell you, it was like stuff started to change. I started to really focus on how was I posting? How am I wording things? I go back now, and when Facebook is doing this whole, like, 2 years ago, this is what you posted. And sometimes it's mortifying. Mortifying. If you ask a couple of the coaches in my team page, like, I'll take a screenshot and I'll be like, example of what not to post, right? It's a freaking picture of a Beachbody program. It's like so salesy. And or like I'll have put together a graphic that didn't quite fully have Beachbody, or had like one little picture of like T25 or something. But it was so kind of impersonal. I wasn't even in the damn picture. And it was just, I've come so far. So it's about improvement. I'm constantly learning. None of my stuff is still perfect. And I'm constantly learning. But honestly, there is no secret. I used to think there was, and I used to hate when Lindsay Matway would say there's no secret. Because I'm like, clearly you know something that I don't know. Because you are just millions of years away from where I ever will be, right? But there really isn't. And I just have seemed to find my groove, and I find what works for me. And I take and I take and I take, and then I apply. And some things don't work for me. Some things that I hear from other coaches that really work for them don't work for them. Some things that I say that really work for me don't work for my coaches. Facebook events has been a godsend for me. It doesn't work for all of my coaches. Sometimes people seem to be able to find people on Pinterest. I've listened to Meg Wazinski's call about that and how she's doing that twice. It is not working for me. I don't get it, right? But it's working for Shannon right now. So you gotta find your groove. It can be so frustrating. Let me just tell you, I made like diddly squat my first year. I was definitely in the negative, and but I love it. I love being a part of this, and I believed, even though I am a girl who lacked confidence uncontrollably. I had no confidence. Since the time I was a little child, I've just always so struggled with being self-conscious, and I just have never fully believed in myself. But for whatever reason, God instilled in something in me that the day that I signed up, after 8 months of saying no to Shannon, the day that I signed up, I believed that I could make this work. And even though there were months upon months where there was a $0 sign, there were 0 customers, there was 0 money, and I was still paying my coach stuff, and I was still on my Shakeology, and I believed in this stuff, and I was getting no after no after no after no after no. And people were like, oh yeah. And I was hearing from a lot of friends and family, like, I told you, this is such a scam. Like, you can't actually make money doing this. This is whatever. I still believe that I could. And here I am 3 years later. Am I making the money that I really need to be making? No. Am I where I want to be? No. But what did I do? I worked my freaking ass off, and I left my job at the end of May. And I was working for Nazi, and she stressed the living daylights out of me, and I just had to make a decision. It was literally, the stress was killing me, and I stayed up every night till midnight working this business. I'm up every morning at 4 a.m. and I just plugged in. I'm on podcasts all day long, business podcasts, health podcasts, spiritual podcasts, you name it. I'm soaking it in because I need to refresh me. So I had just had to stop at that time when I was really, really, really struggling and hitting lots and lots of walls. And I had to say, all right, time out. Forget about getting customers. Forget about this. Forget about that. What can I do? I need to change this package. So I needed to work on myself, to grow myself, and something snapped. I started to share what I was learning in my personal development. I started to just realize like what people want to hear, and I stopped trying to be so salesy, and I stopped trying to be like Beachbody down your freaking throat, because I loved it and I'm super excited about it. But everybody else on my friends list, all my family, if they're not in Beachbody, they don't give a rat's ass about what is in your Shakeology, right? They don't give a crap about T25 and only 30-minute workouts. They don't care. And they just see it as salesy. So then I started to just share. Every single day I just shared. I went to the gym most days and I still did my home workouts. I love taking classes at gyms, so I've never poo-pooed that to people, that's their thing. And then I became also a fitness instructor, so people knew. And what did they know? Because I posted every day what my workout was. I posted every day that I did my workout. I started sharing healthy meals, and I just started sharing about how the business, aside from monetary value, was affecting me. The friendships that I was making with all these other coaches, I didn't have any real fit friends in my real life, right? And I just made a bunch of virtual ones. And then it just allowed you, in the connections that you're adding, your friends and stuff, just building connections with people on a daily basis. And so I am here a little over 3 years later, and that's when I've had people come to me that I've been inviting and talking to for 3 years. And I know new coaches hate to hear that, because you're putting in so much time up front. It is not a get-rich-quick scheme. I am proof of that. You're putting in so much time with people up front, but I'm telling you, those relationships pay off. I've had a huge group of women with me for over a year. Half of them became coaches, and we just have established this connection. Because even when they weren't ready, they knew that I'm still going to be your friend. We're still going to have all these connections. So I'm telling you, there isn't a secret sauce. There's nothing special that I'm doing in my business that somebody else is doing in their business, that so-and-so is doing in their business. I think you just got to take a step back and say, okay, what area do I need to work on those 3 vitals? And honestly, everybody, 90% of coaches that are actually working their business are drinking their Shakeology. If it's, coming down to the whole price thing, then you're right in the same space as your customers that saying they can't afford it. And then it's probably that you got to figure out if you believe in this product or not. If it's doing your workout, which most coaches are actually doing their workout, that's not usually where they're struggling. Then 90% of the time, it's the personal development. And just sitting down and reading, okay, it says on my to-do list, read 10 minutes a day. But what are you doing during that time that you're reading? Are you multitasking? Are you cooking and whatnot? So there are certain times that I'll be listening to a podcast and I'm doing something, but I will go back to certain ones and sit down again with a notebook and write down, because it was that good. There was some takeaway stuff from it. So I have to learn, for certain times during my personal development, I am right next to a notebook so that I can write stuff down, so that I can apply it, and then I could use it as a post later on. So usually for me, that was the biggest switch for me. It wasn't that I wasn't doing my personal development. I wasn't doing it 100% effectively. So I had to find what worked for me. Books did not work for me. I had to find authors and speakers that I could relate to, that I connected with on something, and I had to find an area. So my newer coaches, some of them that are super shy, the first thing I tell them, I don't want you spending personal development time figuring out business. I want you to work on confidence, self-belief, because in order for you to believe in your business and to come across like that, I'm so sorry this video is so long. I just looked at the time. You got to find something that works for you. And so I have seen a huge change in just 3 months in one of my very special new coaches, who is my little rock star. But she is a very shy girl to begin with. But she has worked from day one on focusing on confidence and stepping outside of that comfort zone. So for her, that's what's working for her. And I mean, she earned herself a free ticket to Summit. So clearly it's working. So I was just going through your thing and I'm like, God, I remember being there. I've been there even now. There is no secret sauce. There is no, even if you follow the scripts and you follow different things, it doesn't work for every single person. But the biggest thing I can ever say is You have to know your reason why, and it has to be strong enough to get you through those days where you just want to throw in the towel, and you just can't hear one more objection from somebody or from one more close friend or family that tells you that this is never going to work. And just focus on that, and just focus on sharing your passions. So it doesn't have to be that your passion is a Beachbody workout. Your passion is fitness. What is it allowing you to do? How does it free you in terms of your sanity and how you feel about yourself? For me, I'm able to really share about, yes, I was very sick in college with anorexia, and yes, I healed and whatnot before Beachbody came into my life, but there's still always that part of you. And so I'm able to really share how fitness makes me actually learn to love my body instead of hate my body. And I appreciate strength now. And so how I'm able to talk about strong versus skinny, and I can really relate to that, and for me, what that really means. So, there is no secret sauce, but I'm just seriously here to say, like, if you really believe in this and you really have a passion for helping people, and you love the mission of this company, and you love everything around this company, and the friendships that you make, and the support that you get, and the connections, and just like working for somebody as cool as Carl, or having somebody as a leader over you, compared to like what I could compare him to, which was my previous boss, then let that fuel you. Let that drive you on those days where you really just are feeling fed up. So I know this is so off tangent, but I don't know. I just read your thing and it just really spoke to me. And I have been there. I have really struggled. We used to have team calls, and I started with a lot of girls who have several stars next to their names. And I used to be like, I don't get it. I don't get it. And all of them would be like, I can't believe you're not a diamond yet. And I wasn't even emerald at that time. And they're like, I don't understand. I don't get it. We see your stuff. And so I'm like, I don't know what else to do either. So then I just focused on me, and a lot of prayer, but just being really, 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 really consistent, so that when somebody does decide that they want to make that change, they know, I need to get help. Who do I go to? Jackie. People call me Jackie Fitness. I used to work with a kid. Every time he walked into my office, Jackie Fitness. So people call me that, right? So they knew. Because why? Because I posted about it every single day. They knew, okay, she works out. She shares about her workout. She shares about her eating plan. She shares about how, all this stuff. I know, and I followed her, and I could see that this isn't some hobby thing that she did for 3 months and then quit and came back and quit and whatever. She just stayed consistent. And so they knew that they can kind of trust me. Plus, we built up that relationship outside of fitness. And so that's why I get people now that still message me and come to me all this year. This has been my best year yet, but it's because I had to lay the groundwork for like 2 years. But that first year was really it. I planted 1,000 seeds that year, and they just started to grow. And so now they're like, this year was like a sprouting year. That's just how I have to think about it. So I love reading your thing. It just really spoke to me. I hope that this helps. I know this video is super long. I don't even know if it's going to post in the team group. But hang in there. Focus on your why. Share your passion. And I promise you that big things will come.